Okay, we are back. I'm Wally George, and my guest, you know, some people just cannot control themselves when they're wrong, and obviously I punched the wrong nerve on Mr. Downey, and he couldn't take the truth. So once again, we have a so-called brawl, almost, on our hands here. Well, I went and talked to Downey, and now I think if he's able to control himself, perhaps, Mr. Downey, we can have a conversation. Do you think you're able to do that?
As long as it's you and I one-on-one, Wally, I'll check my brain and we'll start even.
Oh, right. Listen, let me tell you something. You see, it's people like you, Downey, who are really, you tell me that I am starting things, that I am not right for the conservative cause, and you jump up and want to physically attack me and you can't take the fact that the audience realizes what a stupid jerk you are. I mean, why? I mean, if you're a conservative, if you are a conservative, why don't you act like at least a human being on this program?
I'll act like a human being. I expect to be treated like a human being. Let's discuss the issues.
All right.
And if you have some people in your audience who have enough modicum of intelligence to ask intelligent questions...
Now wait, don't start again with the audience. Now,
I'm asking you if you have an audience that has questions.
Now you're saying to me that I should have treated you with respect on my show. When I came on your radio show...
Don't ever snap out of your seat to come over like you're coming to get me, because I'm used to liberals attacking you that way, not conservatives.
Snap out. I walked over because you were behaving like a maniac. That's what you were doing. Now,
I leave it to the audience to decide for themselves, and I mean the television audience to decide for themselves whether I acted like a maniac or whether George did.
Wally to you.
George.
Hold on.
So you
asked for respect on my show, and wait a minute, and the first thing you did to me when I went on your radio show in Sacramento, California, where my show is seen on Channel 31 and you're on KFBK radio.
The capital of California, Sacramento.
All right, never mind. And KFBK happens to be a good radio station, and why they put you on there is beyond me.
Well, I have the same opinion about your stations that carry you all over the country.
Listen, but what I was trying to say is, the minute I came on your radio show, you don't treat me with any respect. You hurled personal insults at me. So why the hell should I treat you decently?
Well, you've got a good point there. You've got a good point there. The fact that I acted like an idiot gives you every right to act like one also.
And you have a good point on top of your damn head. That's where you have a good point. Now I want to see if we can get some kind of sanity out of this interview.
Good, let's go.
Now I happen to have a cold, and you're making it a hell of a lot worse. I got a splitting headache from having to talk to a jerk like you. Now,
you have to have a brain to have a headache, Wally.
Hold on. Let him run again. Now listen, I want to ask you a few things, Downey. Tell me, how did you happen to say on your program that I did not know the facts, that I did not have the experience as a conservative talk show host? Let me give you a little bit of my experience, Downey. I have been on radio and television for 30 years talking about conservative politics. I started out talking about patriotism and conservatism when I was 16 years old, when you were probably sitting out behind the barn drinking a six-pack of beer. I've been on the air continuously for 35 years. I was on the air for 6 years with the former mayor of Los Angeles, Sam Yorty, preaching conservatism and patriotism, and you just crawled out of some saloon that they practically... No, really, he was a saloon singer, and they probably kicked you out of a saloon because you could no longer sing, so you decide all of a sudden, you would become a talk show host. What qualifies you to be a talk show host and to be a conservative?
Let me see if I can give you a couple of... I'm a reborn American, all right? I am a conservative. I am a conservative, and I started off on the wrong side of the tracks. I started off as a liberal, I worked for John Fitzgerald Kennedy. I worked for Bobby Kennedy. And I finally learned my lesson when Jimmy Carter ran for the presidency of the United States and realized that I had made a mistake, these many years. I served 8 years on the Democratic National Committee, so I know how those people work to undermine America, and I don't intend to be any part of it anymore.
I think you're wrong, Downey. I think you made your biggest mistake. You do belong with the Democratic Party.
No way. No way. No way. No person who wants freedom in this country, no person who wants the Constitution upheld in this country could ever want to really be a Democrat.
Well, if you, all right, I agree with you on that. If you consider yourself to be a good American, patriotic conservative, how can you on your show, and I've heard you criticize Ronald Reagan the way you do?
Wally, the only reason I criticize Ronald Reagan is not because of the man, because I think the man has nothing but great instincts. I think he's probably the best man we could have in there as president right now. But I am concerned that the Michael Devers of this world keep the Wally. Wait a second, let me finish, Wally. Just let me explain why. I'm afraid the Michael Devers of this world keep the Wally Georges away from Ronald Reagan. No. Keep the people who could really give Ronald Reagan the input that he needs to be sure that we're not going to have a monetary collapse in this country. I've been predicting for 45 days that Bolivia was going to default on their loans. Everyone laughed at me. Today in the headlines, Bolivia defaulted on $4 billion worth of loans, and it's going to be a domino effect.
I have news for you, Morton. For the rest of your career as a broadcaster, everyone's going to laugh at you. Yeah. Now listen.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Wally. I feel a modicum of camaraderie for you, and I'm sorry you feel that way, because I think the one problem that we have is one conservative trying to split another conservative, and it gives all the liberals out there a chance to laugh like hell at us. No. And whether you and I get along on all the issues, there are some issues we agree upon, and we ought to try and stick together once in a while.
All right, now look. I will agree. Hold on. All right. There may be some issues that we do agree on, and I'm sure there are, but I want to tell you this. You cannot help this country or re-elect this president by chastising and hitting over the head the men that he chose personally to be his lieutenants.
He didn't pick them personally. He did not pick them personally. He did not pick George Bush personally. George Bush went ahead and picked Baker personally.
He decided to be...
Because it was the right thing to do at the time to get himself elected so he could do a great job for America.
Every man who is serving Ronald Reagan in the White House was picked by Ronald Reagan. And if you don't like them, that's tough.
You're naive,
and
Wally.
You are nuts.
You're naive. Wally, you're naive. Dear God, give this boy a semblance of brain.
Dear God, give this man any kind of a brain. Go ahead.
I just like to say I'm Sean from Torrance. I just like to say back there you handled it very well, Wally. He's very proud of you. You're the best.
Thank you very much. Okay, question for this maniac here?
How can you call this man a phony? I mean, you are the phony, it's obvious, and everyone can see. Wally George is the greatest conservative of all, and you cannot call him a phony.
Wally George is no doubt a great conservative. Wally George is no doubt a great American. Wally George should learn a little bit more about the issues. That's all I ask.
Oh, come on. I knew the issues before you could spell the word.
What is your doctorate in, Wally?
Listen, buddy, nobody needs...
I'm not your buddy, and never would be.
Thank God, it never would be.
Never would be.
Come on in, go ahead. I knew the issues, Morton Downey, before you could spell the word. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Victor from Garden Grove.
Okay.
And when you call us monkeys in a cage, I think you're the only monkey we know, so...
Yeah. All right, Victor. Good, Victor. Victor, you're led the same way Adolf Hitler was able to lead the minions over in Germany. Pardon me?
Do you believe in the death penalty?
Do I believe in what?
The death penalty.
Yes, I do believe in the death penalty.
How about the draft?
Yes, I believe in the draft.
Okay. That's all I want to
know. Come on. Yes. Go ahead.
I already have been.
All I want to know is why, when the cameras are off, you were flipping us off with some juvenile thing. And I'll tell you what, us people, the good conservatives of America don't have to change. Democrat.
Wait a minute. I cannot permit it. Downey,
I apologize for that. I apologize for that.
I will not give an obscene gesture.
I apologize for that.
All right.
That wasn't an obscene. That was not an obscene gesture. I was trying to demonstrate to the man that I received his IQ test score back.
Never mind. Go ahead.
crowd tonight. You know, Wally, you got a heavyweight on your show. You ought to learn from him instead of insulting him.
Oh, come on.
Why, thank you. Thank you.
If this, wait a minute, if this is a heavyweight, then we are in real trouble. Get off my stage.
Wait, I got a question.